Time now for Ask Your Meteorologist, and meteorologist Seth Bonoff is hanging out with us today. Seth, thanks for hanging out with us here in the Weather Center.
Of course, a bit unusual. Usually this is Jacob's spot here, but I'm always happy to jump in and answer some of our questions. And one question that we've got a lot of lately, Kevin did his winter weather forecast last week for our winter weather special, and a big question was, what is El Nino? Because he talked about that quite a bit. So that's really what we're going over today. And of course, a little bit of a subset of questions there. What is El Nino just as a whole? How do we know when one is coming? And of course, how does it affect our weather? Because that's always very important, especially here during the winter time. So let's just kind of pull up our graphics here and take a look at what is going on with El Nino. So there's these things called the trade winds that typically is a wind that blows from east to west. And what that does is it typically keeps that warmer Pacific Ocean water out there to the west, closer to places like Asia. But on occasion, there will be a time where for a period of a few months, those trade winds will weaken, and it's going to allow that warm water to actually shift over towards this direction. It's going to settle around down in South America. And now what that does is it starts to affect our weather patterns because it changes where exactly our jet streams are at. We've got two of them. We've got a subtropical jet stream and a polar jet stream. And the way those jet streams form is by temperature differences at the surface. And so with an El Nino, you got warmer water there off the coast of South America. That's going to keep that subtropical jet a little farther south. It's also going to keep that polar jet a little farther north. And what's important about that is to have active weather, you need to have those jet streams right overhead. So now that that northern one is kind of above us and that southern one is well south of us, you got all the rain coming down there in kind of Central America. You have a lot of snow coming up there towards Canada. In the middle, you don't have a whole lot of activity. So it kind of dries things up, keeps us a little warmer than normal. And that's actually exactly what happens here with El Nino. These are kind of some of the typical weather patterns that you see. Again, there's that Pacific jet keeping things a little wet down there in the southern U.S. And then there's the polar jet up there to the north, which has all that snow up there. But in between, it's just going to kind of stay warm and a little bit dry. And that definitely affects our forecast because when it comes time for winter, that definitely changes the amount of possible snowfall we could end up seeing. And this is a very hard thing to predict. It's more of a reactionary thing. So you have to look and pay attention to things like what these sea temperatures are and what they usually are compared to normal. So right now out there around South America, kind of off the coast there of Central America as well, kind of just have this faint stripe of orange there. And what that equates to is about 3 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than normal out there in the ocean. And that's kind of hinting towards another El Nino forming. And what that's going to do is it's likely going to lead to above normal temperatures here for the upcoming winter, and as a result it's also going to lead to above average rainfall, because when you have temperatures warmer than normal in the winter, you're less likely to have snow, more likely to have some of that rain. And of course that snowfall total isn't going to be as high as we're used to seeing. This year Kevin went with somewhere between 13 and 17 inches, and just as a baseline reference there, typically here in Champaign we get about 23 inches of snow every single winter. So as you can see, something as simple as just kind of an overall pattern change definitely affects the way that our weather ends up being, and it can definitely make some winter lovers maybe a little disappointed when there's an El Nino around, because they want some snow and they might not get as much as they're used to.
Which are you?
I am kind of somewhere in the middle. I like the timely snow. I like it on Christmas. I like it, on New Year's. I like it in December where it belongs. In November, in April, I kind of want it to be done. So
exactly.
I'm not opposed to El Nino sticking around for those months. It can do whatever in between.
So maybe those woolly worms were correct,
I was just about to say that. Judy knew, she knows how to do this, and she looked at those woolly worms and she said it was going to kind of be like last year. Last year was a little warmer and a little less snowy than usual, so maybe they're onto something.
She did say there may be a burst of snow.
Yes, there's always going to be something occasionally slipping on through, but
we're hoping just on Christmas.
Just on Christmas, and I would be totally fine with it.
Very good. Well, thanks, Seth, for hanging out with us. All right, if you want to connect with Seth, maybe ask him a question for next week's Ask Your Meteorologist, there's the ways to connect with him. And we will look forward to visiting with our meteorologist next week.